Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 141. Quality of eating experience. I had this chat with someone yesterday and I realised I've not spoken about it in a long time. So I have this little thing about quality of eating experience. Now, I've mentioned this before about the whole, sitting in front of the TV with a bar of chocolate and just scoffing it and not really paying attention to it or what's going on, versus sitting down at a table with a blindfold on, with one square of chocolate, nobody around, no noise. Like, what would the difference between those two experiences be? The individual square would be the most intense experience versus the mind-numbing, I'm watching Love Island and I can't really taste the stuff that I'm putting in my mouth. But let's come at it from a different angle. Okay, so think of it this way. If you're someone who wants to be a healthy weight, who wants to live at a healthy weight, you need to eat less, right? And it's not just you need to stop eating so much. It's you need to change the way that you're eating, because right now, let's say you are thinking about food 40 times in a day and you are reacting to that half of the time. So you're eating 20 times a day. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is very easily done. So let's say you wake up in the morning, you're prepping the kids' breakfast and you eat a couple of bits of that. That's one. Then you sort your own breakfast, and while you're prepping that, you eat something else. Then you eat your own breakfast. That's 3 already. And the day's not even started yet. Then it's mid-morning, you feel a bit peckish, so you have a biscuit. And then you jump in the car and you go to your work and you've got a bag of sweets in the car. You eat that on the way there, that's 5. You eat it on the way back, that's 6. While you're at work, how many times do you think about and react? Going to vending machines, grabbing things that are in the staff room, tins that are lying on the table. I know not everyone can relate to all of this because you all have your own different setups. Some of you might be working from home and the kitchen is just through the wall from you. Even worse, some of you might work at your dining table when you're working from home and you're looking at the cupboards and drawers where all the stuff is. It is very easy to eat on 20 separate occasions. It doesn't mean eating 20 meals. It means a sweet, a biscuit, a couple of crisps, a nugget and chip off a kid's plate, a slice of ham every time you open the fridge, etc. Very easily done. And if that's the way that you're eating, whatever weight you are right now, that's part of the reason. You have too many eating occasions, eating opportunities. No, eating occasions. The opportunities aren't the problem. The occasions are. So here's the way that I like to think of it, right? And don't think of this as any sort of set, rigid rule. It's just the way that I organise these things in my mind and the way that I explain it. You do not have to try and stick to this. But the way I think of it is, I am going to have about 5 eating opportunities in a day. I don't need to take them all. I don't have breakfast most of the time, but let's say that you're going to have 5 eating opportunities. No, let's say 6. Let's say 6. 6 is good. So 6 will be your 3 meals and 3 snacks, right? So let's say it's breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, dinner, and then something sweet later on with a cup of tea or something after your dinner. Now, let's say that you do think of that as a rule and you do limit yourself to 6 eating occasions in a day. Do you want to waste any of those eating occasions? I'll give you a daft example. Let's make it financial, okay? My kids got money from their grandparents to take to Blackpool a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't spend it. They spent all my money instead. So they both had £20 in their wallets. And at the weekend, we went to the park, and on the way back, they wanted to go to the toy shop. And we were very close to B&M, a big B&M that I knew had a good toy section. And I said, we'll go to B&M first to have a look, and then we'll go to Smith's in the retail park. So we went to B&M. My eldest, who is wonderful at saving money, looked at everything and went, I don't want anything from here, I want to see what's in B&M. Nothing's really jumping out at me here. My youngest just went, I want that, and that. So he picked up all these things. And I tried to explain to him, look, If you buy these things, and they were, honestly, he spends his money on shitty things. Stuff that's like £2 and £3, like a blind bag, a squishy. Like, he would happily pick up £3 blind bags and spend his money on that. No matter how many times I explain to him, you know that £45 Lego set you're pointing at? Well, if you save your pocket money for the next few months, you could come back and buy that. No, it's okay, I want these. I'll just get that for my birthday. I'm like, oh, will you? But anyway, that's the difference between my 10-year-old and my 6-year-old. 6-year-old has work to do on the money front. So then we get to Smith's. Jacob still has £20. Kerr has £9. Kerr points at something that's 15, and I say, no, you've already spent all your money. That was it. You had the chance to keep your money and buy something better, but you wanted to use it in lots of little shitty rubbish things because you got excited about opening the bag and now they're going to end up in a drawer. So Jacob saves his money for higher quality spending experiences. Kerr's quite happy to waste his money on multiple low quality spending experiences and not have enough left over for a higher quality one. So let's bring that back to your body. The only difference is you can't run out of eating experiences when it's your body. You're not limited. He couldn't spend any more money because he didn't have any. When it comes to eating, you can eat as much as you want. So let's say you are going to have 6 eating experiences, and you're only allowed to have 6 eating experiences. As much as I don't like that word and thinking of it in a permissive way, but let's just use it to prove a point or to hammer home a point. Do you want to have 6 low quality eating experiences? Let's say you go about your day in your usual way. So you wake up, you're prepping something for the kids, and you eat, I don't know, whatever you give your kids in the morning. A slice of apple, or a strawberry, or a waffle, or whatever your kids munch in the morning, right? And we're not talking about a whole thing, just a bite of it. That's one eating experience, gone. You've now got 5 left. And then you make a cup of tea and you pull out the chocolate digestives. That's your second one, gone. 4 left. And then you have your own breakfast, which is fine. But that's another one gone, and we've now got 3 left, and it's only 7 a.m. And then it gets to mid-morning in your package, and you're like, oh shit, I've only got 3 eating experiences left. I'm only allowed to eat 3 more times today. Do I really want to take one of those sweets out of the celebrations that somebody's brought in? And you take one, and now you've got 2 left. And then it's lunchtime, and you have lunch, and now we're down to our last eating experience. And it's mid-afternoon, you're starting to get tired, your shift feels like it's taken forever to end, and you go, do you know what? I'm going to go to the vending machine and get something to spice this up a bit, and you grab a packet of crisps, and that is it. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are done eating for the day. You can't go home and have dinner. You can't go home and have that lovely meal that you planned. You can't have that lovely bar of chocolate that you know is sitting there waiting for you tonight because you wasted all your eating experiences earlier on in the day. So, a helpful way to think about eating. And this is good because somebody told me something this week, like, we get this all the time in the NSV section, like, I said no to food today. And then we explore the reasons why. Because we're trying to, one of the things I try to help people with is get out of the habit of saying yes to everything by default. Getting away from the idea that they're going to offend people by saying no. But also making sure that they have positive reasons for saying no. So we're not saying, no thank you, I am on a diet. Which really means, yes please, I would absolutely love that. However, I'm trying to restrict myself. That'd be a negative way to say no. We're trying to get them to the point where they say, no thank you, I'm going home to have my dinner, so it's kind of pointless me eating that cake right now. Tell you what I will do though, I hadn't really planned anything for after dinner tonight, I'll take one of those cakes home with me. So, reacting in more positive ways. But anyway, one of the great things that came up this week was I said no thank you to cake because I knew where the cake was from, and I know that cake is not very good, or I didn't like it the last time, I can't remember, but something like that. So I said, no thank you. When I would normally have just said yes, because, yep, cake, obviously I'm going to say yes, I'm not going to turn it down, oh yes please. But that was someone who is getting to the point where they're no longer just saying yes by default, they're actually thinking the decision through. I had someone a while ago as well who said, it was a friend's birthday, I got offered a slice of cake, so of course I said yes. I took one bite of it and it wasn't very good. So I didn't eat it. And I said, how did you feel about that? Did you feel awkward? And she's like, no, I just said that I felt a bit I started to feel a bit queasy after I had it. So I wasn't going to eat anymore. I'm like, that was a great way to do it. Like, it doesn't, I know it's difficult. Like, for me, I'm quite upfront and to the point, as I'm sure you realise by now. I don't feel the need to give anyone a reason for anything that I decide not to do, especially when it comes to putting food into my body. Would you like this? No thanks. Oh, are you not hungry? Are you this? Are you that? No, I just don't want it. I don't owe you an explanation as to why I'm not eating on command, thank you. But I know other people might feel a bit more awkward doing that. Because so many people think that you're going to cause offence because you're not putting food in your body because someone has commanded you to. So, having a list of excuses is a great way to do it. That are not diet related, and they are excuses. They're lies, they're dishonest, they're little white lies, but they serve a purpose, right? They help you feel good about saying no, and then you get to carry on with your worrying about what other people think, knowing that you had a good reason. Oh, actually, I just had a bit of that, and my tummy's not reacted well. I'm not going to eat the rest of it, thanks. But thank you, though. Job done. So back to the point. That person ate that cake, and under normal circumstances, even if it wasn't that great, would have still ate it anyway, just because. We've all been in that position where you're not hungry, you don't even want something to eat, but it's right there, and you go, I'll just eat it. Just because. We can't explain it, we don't know why we do it, we just do it. Those are the lowest quality eating experiences. And this is the problem. Your life is filled with far too many low quality eating experiences. It's still got plenty of good ones, but the low quality ones are on top of the good ones. People generally don't skip their dinner because they ate a few things off the kids' plate, or they ate things while they were cooking. They do that and then sit down and eat their whole dinner. You're not going to munch on a couple of bits and pieces here and there and go, do you know what, I'm going to skip this meal that I've just spent 45 minutes making because I don't feel very hungry now because I did this and this. You sit down and you damn well eat the whole dinner on top of it. So, don't do the whole you're only allowed to eat 6 times in a day thing, right? That was just me trying to use numbers to help explain. Be intentional with the way that you eat, right? Plan your day out. When are the times that you are most likely to eat? Well, I'm going to have breakfast, and I'm going to have lunch, and I'm going to have dinner. I am almost certainly going to have something later on at night in front of the TV with a cup of tea or whatever you do. I'm going to have something in the mid-afternoon because I always do, because I start to flag in the afternoon and I like something to pick me up. That's fine. Remember, there's nothing wrong with doing these things. We spoke about this in the last episode. It's the scale at which you do it. If you have a piece of fruit or even a biscuit or a cereal bar or whatever your thing is, I don't really like rhyming off particular foods because I'm not trying to promote them or anything. I want you to eat how you want to eat. If you need a little thing like that in the afternoon to keep you going to dinner time, fine, fill your boots. What we don't want to do is be going to the vending machine and buying a full sugar bottle of Coke, a big grab bag of Walkers, and a twirl, for example, is a, 700 calorie afternoon snack. then going home and putting an 800 or 900 calorie dinner on top of it, and then having something else in the evening, and then you're having an entire day's worth of calories from lunchtime to bedtime on top of whatever you've had in the morning. So like, for most people, meals are not the problem. From a calorie perspective, like, meals are a problem because people don't balance them well. But we don't want to be skipping meals to facilitate shitty eating. Oh, I've done all the snacking today, better not have my lunch. Don't do that, because you don't have the lunch, which was going to be more substantial than the snacking. Now you're hungry in the afternoon, you've got an afternoon of snacking ahead of you. And then you've got your dinner, which you can't really skip because your partner's at home making it for you. And it just all gets very messy. Want better for yourself, right? I no longer want to give myself shitty, low-quality eating experiences. Why do I need to eat a sweet every time I jump in the car? What is the purpose? What is the point of that? Will I look back in my week and say, do you know what? Those 40 boiled sweets that I've eaten in the car this week really added something to my week. Can't wait to do it again this week. I look back in my week, and when I think about food, I think back to the meals that I've really enjoyed, or the meals that the family have really enjoyed, because I like that. I do all the cooking. I think back to times when my youngest son, who's very hard to please and can be a bit fussy, turns around and goes, "Dad, I love this. Can we have this again tomorrow?" Those are my memorable food moments. You will never remember the 2 chips that you ate off your kid's plate. You'll never remember the nugget and last couple of spoonful of beans that you just shoveled in your mouth because you think putting food in the bin is a crime, so you use yourself as a food bin instead. And you don't remember them, and because you don't remember them, they don't register. God, the amount of people I work with who are completely clueless about why they're overweight. I just can't understand it. I eat really well. I barely drink any alcohol. My meals I cook everything from scratch. It's like, yeah, well, it's coming from somewhere. And then you start asking them questions and doing a bit of exploration, and it's like, well, yeah, I don't really like food waste, so like I would eat something instead of putting it in the bin. And I might eat a couple of things off the kids' plate. I might snack on the kids' stuff when I'm putting their packed lunches together. I might throw a chocolate mini roll in my mouth when I'm throwing one in a lunchbox. And then it starts to come to light, actually, I'm doing this quite a lot. And it's because you don't register it. It is so low quality. Think about it from a spending point of view. I can remember that I spent £135 in Aldi on Sunday because that was a big expense. How many £1, £2, £3 taps have I done this week? God only knows. I have no idea. Because they're so insignificant. I know I've gone to Iceland and Sainsbury's to grab little things that I didn't get at Aldi during the week. Can't remember what they were, can't remember the quantities, because they were low quality shopping experiences. I wasn't spending a lot of money to the point where it registered. Oh, that's a big one, 135, I'll need to remember that. So anyway, want better for yourself. Stop providing your body with low quality eating experiences that add absolutely nothing. You will not look back on your day to day and think about, that handful of crisps that you ate, those few chips and nugget off your kid's plate, that last slice of pizza that was left over. Like, these are things that we do, that we rush, that we get done quickly, that we end up feeling bad about, that we try to forget. And because we try to forget them, you don't really see them as a problem until somebody points out that they're a problem. So you come and work with someone like me, and we start talking about it. And one of the great things about starting to track your nutrition is that it helps you realize, I've had a couple of people join this week who have started tracking and they've not yet managed to get down into their deficit yet. And they're like, God, I feel like I am eating so much less, and yet I've still not got to the calories that you've set for me. You know, I've maybe set their calories to 15 to 1700, but they're at 2000 to 2200. And one of them said, you know, God only knows how much I was eating before, because they just don't know. You understand that your weight is in a place that you don't want it to be, but you can't, you know, there are many occasions where people can't make the connection between why it is where it is. They feel like their meals are okay. They don't feel like they're eating a lot. They never really feel stuffed. They don't feel like they're overeating. Like there are many different experiences, and each of you will all have your own experiences. Like there are people who know they are sitting down at night and eating to excess. There are people who know that they are eating to the point where they are uncomfortably full. There are people who know that they are going to the kitchen and grabbing a sharing bag of crisps or Pringles or a big bar of chocolate and polishing it off in an evening. Then there are people who think they're not doing anything wrong. I eat plenty of fruit and vegetables. My meals are well balanced. I don't really sit in front of the TV and snack. And then when you dig in a bit deeper, you find out that, okay, yeah, your meals are good, but look at the calories. Your lunch was 1,200 calories. Because it's avocado and salmon and cheese and eggs and whatever else. Oh, but they're healthy fats. Yeah. But you're eating like 3 times the amount of healthy fats you should be. That's why you're gaining weight. You can't keep calling them healthy fats when they're adding 2 stone to your body. Anyway. Want better for yourself. Demand better for yourself. Just get into the habit of asking yourself the question before you make a food choice. Should I really do this? Is this going to be a high quality experience or a low quality experience? Do I really want to eat this slice of cake just because someone's offering me it? Or could I take it home? Being offered food and just saying yes will always be a low quality eating experience. Like, it doesn't matter how good the food is. You should not be placing the responsibility of your daily eating in the hands of anyone else. You should not know everything that you're eating in a day, but your food choices should all be yours, all of them. A bit different if you go to a friend's house and they say, oh, I'm going to make lunch. Do you want to have lunch here? And you had already planned what you were doing, but you can change your plans. But when it comes to, you know, going to someone's house and the biscuits get put out and you just eat 2 or 3 just because they're there, don't allow other people to dictate the calories that you put in your body just because they've laid a plate of food in front of you. You don't have to have anything. God, a lot of the time, and you don't realise this comes back to the whole thinking other people's thoughts for them. Oh, I didn't want to offend them. You know, in your head, you're thinking about not offending that person. In the other person's head, they've went, oh, this is great. I get to get the biscuits out and put them in front of other people, which means I get to eat them and feel okay about it. Because I'll feel like I'm doing it with other people instead of doing it in secret. You don't know what other people are thinking. So, want better for yourself. Treat yourself better. Aim to have high quality eating experiences that are actually memorable, that you were in control of. You made the decision, not feeling like you have to because you were offered, or eating stuff just because it's lying there. Because the thing is, you will still go on to have your high quality experiences. But the problem is, all these low quality ones, that's where your extra weight comes from. And it's, you know, I wonder if there's a thing I could do in the community where I get people to like, is there an easy way to get people to keep a tally about how many times they think of food in a day without drawing their attention to food every day? Like, if someone has a notepad next to them and it's got food thoughts and they put 1 tally on it and they're tapping away in the computer and they look down at the notepad and they see the word food and they think about food, how do you track that? That's a tricky thing, isn't it? Or some kind of rating experience about how would you rate your eating experience to try and help people understand, like, what their eating experiences are like, so they can start to shift the way they think about them. Once you shift the way you think, then you start to change your behaviours. Anyway, that is enough waffle from me. Want better for yourself. Aim for higher quality eating experiences. Fewer and far between is much better, is always going to be much better than constantly eating all day. which I think I spoke about that before, where, you know, it's not like someone is like eating meals constantly. It's, you know, everywhere they go, they have access to food. They go from snacking in the house to into the car. Like, I used to get a lift to work from a guy years ago. An older guy. He also liked to think he was older. He was in his late 50s, but he liked to pretend he was in his 70s the way that him and his wife banged on. But you got a lift from him. His car doors were lined with boiled sweets. Mince, boiled sweets. And every time you saw him, and he was heavily overweight, but because I'm a people watcher and analyzer of behaviour, every time you saw him, his mouth was going. Like, he used to be out in the forklift, he would come in, he was always chewing something, always eating something, always going into his locker to open his lunchbox and get something. You know, there are people that just eat all day, and it's part of the reason why their weight is where it is. You know, and it had nothing, like when he actually sat down to eat lunch, a couple of salad-filled sandwiches, some fruit, a yogurt, the meals were fine. It was just this behaviour he had created where he constantly needed to be eating something. But yeah, everybody's got their own thing going on. Like, we all gain weight the same way, but we all get there in our own unique way, based on how we've been brought up, what we've been taught, what we've seen, the behaviours that we mimic, the language we've heard, the diet groups we've been taken to and had to sit in the creche with other kids. All that kind of stuff. Hopefully by listening to these podcasts, you really start to understand that this is not just about, oh, I need to get my weight to a number on a scale. I really hope you start to see that it's so fucking complex, like ridiculously complex, that it is not just, oh, just tell me what to do so I can get my number to go to where I want it to go. Like, that doesn't work. It has never worked. Nobody forces their weight to go somewhere and then somehow it just magically sticks. It doesn't work like that, sadly. It's like the whole debt thing that I talk about. If someone is awful with money and is constantly running up credit cards and doing balance transfers and taking out consolidation loans, if a relative dies and leaves them 25 grand and they pay off everything with that 25 grand, do you think that person is never going to get into debt ever again? They got into that debt because of their spending habits. You know, someone coming in and solving the problem for you does not change you as a person. If I wave a magic wand and take you to 9 stone or 8 stone or a size 8 or 9 or whatever it is you want to be, do you think you're going to stay there? Your body would be different, but your brain would be the same. Your habits, your behaviours, all the same. Anyway, enough from me. I'm at the road now. Oh, and I just got stung by a nettle. You bugger. Oh well. Until next time.